Right, 29 February 2024, and today I'm going to be giving you quite a number of stories. So I want to quickly run down through a number of stories, and as you can see, I'm operating in the dark, but this is not going to stop us because I am on a very good connection, and I want to go through stories that are happening politically in Zimbabwe and also within the region. We're also going to look at business stories and entertainment. So the most important story that is happening today is the changes that have taken place in Nelson Chamisas' campaign. So as you know, Nelson Chamisa and his Blue Movement, they've been going around the country. And initially, they did the areas around Gweru and I think a few areas in Harare. Then they went to Mashonaland East, and now they've moved to Masvingo. And it is clear that there's been massive changes in how Nelson Chamisa and his team are campaigning. Currently, you can see that most of the campaigning is now being done by Prince Dubeko Sibanda, the former MP for Gwanda, for not Gwanda, sorry about that. I don't know why I've been saying Gwanda, Binga. So the former MP for Binga, and he is now taking charge of the campaign, and I think that's a good move. So let's see what's happening there. Let's have a look at what's happening with the campaign. I want to specifically look at what happened in Masvingo yesterday. You can see that Ostallos and Chibaya, they're doing more of the singing and mobilizing, and then the speeches are being given by Dubeko Sibanda. So you can go and have a look at what we've presented on Zimbabwe Media. But you can see here, this is Chibaya singing on this clip here. So on Ostallos' page. So mostly right, so you can clearly see that Chibaya is doing most of the singing, and similarly, that is what's happening with Ostallos. But most of the actual talking is coming from Dubeko. So Dubeko is the one that is issuing the statements. If you go on Kabako.com YouTube channel, we've issued or we've published the actual speech by Dubeko. It's just a small clip, and I'll try to get the bigger clip. But the focus of Nelson Chamisas' campaign is clearly on the election rerun. That is where it is. But most of the mobilizing that is being done here is being done by Ostallos and Chibaya. They sing, they gather people, the hall is full. Chamisa's support is not going away. But the actual messaging is coming from Dubeko Sibanda. And I think that is a clear strategy that is emerging from what Nelson Chamisa is doing. Sibanda is now taking over the key communications. So I'm hoping to see a leadership structure emerging. Because as I explained last week, you cannot form an organization from the grassroots, because the grassroots does not understand the strategy. You cannot formulate a strategy from the bottom. A strategy comes up from the top, because there are two types of strategy. There's the normal strategy that everyone knows. Then there's executive strategy. And what Chamisa is doing here is executive strategy. And the executive strategy starts with the core team, and then it goes on these road shows that they're doing. It's clear, classic executive strategy that is implementing. But the grassroots can never give you direction. So we are waiting for Chamisa himself to appear. And that is what we're waiting for. There will never be a day when you can launch when you haven't seen Chamisa's face. So the day we see Chamisa's face, we know that this is the first day of launch. And that is day one. I hope that it will be very soon. As I said, very, very soon, we'll be knowing what Chamisa is up to. I then want to look at the tweets. Chamisa did not tweet. As I said, more blessing Ali's death and burial. And more blessing Ali's burial is very, very important. It's a key event in the calendar of all the opposition political parties and all the opposition players in Zimbabwe. So this particular week, You're not going to see any much talking from people. Everyone is focused on Mo Blessing Ali, and that is how it is. You're going to see a lot of calm within the political space until that burial is done. Then we'll probably see some drama over there. Then we want to look at the tweets by Job Scholar. Job Scholar is very unhappy with Simbach Kanza. And this is because of something that has been published on Simbach Kanza's pages. You can go and look at Job Scholar's Twitter. He says here, be advised that the story that is being run by ZIMI, that I have directed that there will be no party regalia, blue or yellow, at Mo Blessing Ali's funeral is a lie. So a lot of people answered on this statement by Job Scholar. People like Fadzai Mahere, people like Hopo, everyone is agreed that Simbach Kanza sometimes gets overboard and does his own thing. I understand what Simbach Kanza does. He's running his media house, and I cannot tell him what to do and not what to do, but it's making a lot of people unhappy. And I don't know, maybe you can talk to them to see how it works. The biggest problem with Simbach Kanza is he does not listen. So if you call him and you have a chat with him, he doesn't listen. So he goes on a crazy tangent, and that happens a lot when I talk to him. But I don't have anything against Simba at all. Now let's go to other stories. I want to look at other Twitters here. Let's see if Promise Mkwanan said anything. Promise, as I said, Ostallos has shared Mashingo. So you can go to Ostallos' pages, you'll see what he shared there. Promise Mkwananzi is tweeting on the acquittal of Fadzai Mahere. Fadzai Mahere was acquitted on the charges of publishing falsehoods. So she's no longer a convict after that story. So you can go and look at Promise Mkwananzi's Twitter. And then he also retweeted Isaac Kuseka, who tweeted on the Mashingo rally. So Chamisa's launch is way on its way. It's clear that something has been launched. Something is on the ground. But what we now need is the top, direction from the top. Currently, there is no direction from the top. What is it? What is it called? What is it going to do? What is the structures at the top? This is what we need now. We need Chamisa to come out and say what is going on. Because currently what we have is like having the foundation of a house. You can't live there. You can look at it and tell people that I've got a house, I'm building a stand here, but you cannot live there. That is what we have. So Promise Mkwanan is very active on Twitter. Ostallos is very active on Twitter. Prince Dubeko Sibanda taking charge of the campaign of Nelson Chamisa, and we are waiting for Nelson Chamisa to launch that new movement. We want a name. We want where it is going to go. We want something to follow as the people. Right now, everyone doesn't know what's going on and want to know what's going on. I now want to go to a lot of stories. I've got quite a bunch of stories to go through. Jenfen Muswere, he's gone to the Zimbabwe Defense College, and you can see the video on H Metro online YouTube channel. He went there and he made an announcement that social media is now one of the biggest threats for Zimbabwe as a military threat, which I think is crazy, right? There's no way that social media can be such a big threat in terms of military. Honestly, I don't even know why people in the Zimbabwe defense call someone like Jenfan to present there, because we all know very well that there is no threat from the social media of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe social media is very small, so there's no threat there. You can go and have a look. I don't know what he's talking about, but I want to point you to the recent release of the military strategy of China by the United States of America. They've done a almost 400-page document which reveals what is China's military strategy and what is it that they plan to do between now and 2049. So people want to know about war. So war is very interesting because everything is going to eventually become war. Go and read that strategy. I'm going to ask our robot to read a portion of the executive summary. So about 400 pages. What is war? What are threats? What are the new weapons that are coming? and how is China waging war, and how is China strategizing its war efforts directed at the United States of America, and how is America responding. Go and have a look at that, and then you understand why people like Jenfan don't understand social media. Social media is nothing because it's one or two people. You cannot remove a government using social media if the government is a normal government. The only reason why a government would be afraid of social media is if its priority is wrong, everything's not working. But people who know war, proper war and security, they will tell you that social media in Zimbabwe is not a threat. It's nothing. So I think that is the last I have to say about that. Let's look at other quick stories. There is a lot of stories today. The newspapers are very, very active. So if you buy your paper today, you are going to get a lot of value. So let's quickly look at some of the stories that are in the newspaper today. And I want to start here with, I think my setup is a bit crazy. Let me just move my setup around here so that I can see, because I'm in the dark. So it's a bit difficult for me. I'm using dark lights and all that. So let's look at what's happening. In Bualwayo, the mayor of Bualwayo has met the German ambassador. So you can see that here, that's David Coltart. And he is Skumbuzo Ncube, Mayor David Coltart, and EU ambassador to Zimbabwe, Jobst von Kichman. So I don't know if he's EU or German. I think I'm mistaken. I think he's EU. There you can see that he's meeting them there to talk about water. They are talking about water and how it's affecting Zimbabwe, Bualwayo. And then Zimbabwe is going to have a visit from a World Bank official. So the World Bank official, let's see what's her name here. She's going to be visiting Zimbabwe. Let's see her name. Let's see her name. I can't get her name, but you can go and check out. It's on the World Bank website. This lady is formerly from, I think, Ghana. She's going to be visiting Zimbabwe. And then we have Khama Billiat. He has been unveiled now by Yada. So Yada has given him this car. That is Magaya. But what confused me a lot is he was made to chant ZANU-PF slogans when he was receiving this car. So this car is not coming from Magaya. It's probably coming from the ZANU-PF guys who are also giving all those cars from Wikino Chivai. And then we have his old car here. It's a massive downgrade, what he has gone through. This was his old car in Johannesburg. He was doing very, very well in Johannesburg. But as you know, if you're staying in South Africa and you lose everything, you have to take whatever is available. So that is what has happened to Khama Billiat. He's now scraping at the bottom of the barrel in Zimbabwe because the situation is not well for him. We also have the robbers in the H Metro newspaper. These guys robbed a company called Quest Financial Services of $790,000. They appeared in court, and the 3 employees are implicated. So it involves 3 employees of this company who are also part of the people who were accomplices. So you should go and have a look. Only 100,000 has been recovered from the 900,000, from the $700,000. Then we've got AKA, the South African rapper. The people who killed him have been caught and they're appearing in court today. And then obviously the mastermind, the person who ordered the hit, has not been caught. So we're going to be looking at what the South Africans are going to find here. Monomkumdu is in Jamaica and he's probably there with Maponga. I saw Maponga is over there. So I don't know what's happening there. Then obviously the biggest divorce news in Zimbabwe, Malaika Mahlatsi. She is very popular among the ladies because she had married a Zimbabwean guy, but these guys have broken up now. Let's see if there's other news there. Another Zimbabwean businessman, Cosmas Nyachia, has taken his wife to Kenya, to Masai Mara National Park in Kenya. So he's showing guys that he's over there. And then the Zimbabwe Air Force is appointing or recruiting pilots, air traffic controllers, and all that. You can go and look at this at gambako.com. I'm going to post this. And then there's going to be a Women's Day symposium. This one is going to be addressed by Sheilla, Chikomo, Justice Matanda, Moyo, Loveness, Makonese, Tatiana, Ellis, Captain Chipo, Matimba, and Advocate Aurthur Marara. You see, he's the only man over there. Aurthur Marara. Be careful, Aurthur. So let's then look at other things. I want to look at other stories here. Simbisa Brands has released their results. They've made a profit of over 246 million, and their profit is 24 million. Zinara has released their results, shambolic results from Zinara, and the South African elections will be held on the 29th of May with 27 million registered voters out of an eligible 42 million. Normally, the South African election gets about 50% votes. People who vote out of all that that big number of votes. So I think I need to recap. As you can see, I'm in the dark. So let's recap. Nelson Chamisas is clearly launching, and the launch is doing very, very well on the grassroots. People are attending the rallies, and Chibaya and Ostallos have been singing. They've been mobilizing, they've been gathering people. But now we're entering a next phase where Dubeko is doing most of the talking, Dubeko Sibanda. So we're going to see probably a video of Dubeko talking today. I've got a snippet that will published on gambago.com, and the focus is on the election rerun. That is where the focus is in for Nelson Chamisas. He wants the election rerun. That is what he wants, and that is what he's campaigning for. If you see them going out there, they're not just doing a launch. The big question is, what happens to Triple C? What happens to people who were with Nelson Chamisas in the past? What are we going to be launching? Who is going to be in the leadership structure? And at what point are we going to see Chamisa speaking? Because Chamisa has not spoken. Is Chamisa with this, what's happening or not? Or these guys are supporters and people who are just giving backing? And then we want to see the diaspora effort. What's going to happen in the diaspora is critical. Is Chamisa going to revive those diaspora structures? How is he going to go about it? It's something that is very, very important, because the CCC was formed over a long period of time. There was a lot of campaigns and efforts. People traveled all over the place, and there were people in charge. Now we have the actual CCC still existing, ministers and MPs and so forth still existing, and then we have Chamisa on the side. So he has to redo the launch, and he has to manage his relationship with the CCC, because as a presidential candidate, Chamisa cannot do anything by himself. He needs someone to support him within the parliament, within the Senate, and within the councils. So even if Chamisa was to form a movement, he still needs those guys. But what is that relationship? What is the part that Tendai BT, Washman Ngube, Karenyi Kore, Promise Mkwananzi, what part are they going to play in the new formation? And what kind of relationship is going to be there between these two parties, which is CCC and Nelson Chamisas' Blue Movement? Because you can clearly see that Mkwananzi is not involved. He's not there in the new movement. So it means the CCC of Timber and Mkwananzi is not part of the new formation that Chamisa is forming, as far as I'm concerned. So let's see if there's changes, but the changes that I can see are those that are relating to what's happening at rallies. When there's a rally, Dubeko Sibanda is speaking, Chibaya and Ostallos are basically talking and singing and so forth. But the message that is coming out from Dubeko is on the new direction of a fresh election. Chamisa is campaigning for a fresh election in Zimbabwe, and that is the way the focus is. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And I want to quickly look at the comments and see if there's anything there. Then Mkoma MS says the car came from Magaya, not ZANU-PF. Do you think ZANU-PF has money to waste? All I can say is that Khama Billiat was forced to sing ZANU-PF strategy, what do you call ZANU-PF slogans when he received that car. He was forced to say something about 2030 and ED and all that. So you can check it out. But the actual unveiling of Khama Billiat is today. It's not. It was not yesterday. They gave him the car. They're also going to give him a flat. They're going to give him $50,000, and they're going to give him $20,000 signing on fees. And as I say, you must know that Magaya is broke, and he's not able to provide this kind of monies. You saw the shoes that these people are wearing, the soccer boots. Magaya could not finish his stadium. It's not finished. If you look at pictures of the stadium, it's only the other side that's finished. The rest of the sides are not finished. And eventually, I'm going to show you some information about what is happening in Magaya. That will make everything clear. And this is something I know very well. So Anaskot and all the other guys, they're probably the ones giving money, or as the rumor has it, that Wicknell and Mamnangaba are working together on those cars that is giving. Maybe this is one of the cars. Which brings me to one thing that I'd forgotten, and this is to do with the Wicknell. Maima Shakada in the H Metro, she's appealing to Wicknell to give a 100 one-day-old chicks. You know those chickens that you use for starting a small business. She's saying that Wicknell should also consider those women or widows of late musicians. So she's made an appeal, and it's there in the H Metro newspaper. I want to look at another comments here. Let's see if Jennifer has commented here, because his presentation was very poor. So let's see if there's anything here. Maybe I see change, but team in a province, Rayo. No, it's not. They are together. So Mkoma Edwin, they are in the same room. So if you look at Dubeko and Ostallos and Chibaya, they are in the same room during the campaign. But Dubeko is responsible for giving the message, and Chibaya, they do the singing. So that is what is happening now. But I think what we need is people to now have a more broader understanding of what Chamisa is trying to do. Because right now we're clear that Chamisa has not lost his support. But we want a direction in terms of what is it that is being formed, and where is it going to take everyone. Because Chamisa cannot go by himself. He has to go with other people. That is the point that I'm making here. And then Mkoma Jonathan saying demonstration is the way out of this mess, and the Zephyr generals are 100% right. Zimbabwe must solve its own problems. The Zephyr generals have given 3 months ultimatum. Let's see if they can take on ED and see if they can attack. And then Mkoma Adrian says Zephyr inojigane ZANU uchaga away zekupiwa mota na Chivayo. I don't think so. I think if you threaten Mnangagwa, you should be able to follow through with everything that you've said. Let's say you say to Mnangagwa, I'm coming in 3 days. You must come in 3 days. Otherwise, it will be a joke, whatever you're doing. And then Mkoma Vincent said, morning Gambakwe, Mkoma Falcon, morning Gambakwe. So thank you everyone for this. You can see I'm working in the dark, but I think the emphasis I need to make here is more blessing Ali's burial. It will give us a proper direction of what's happening. If you don't see Chamisa there, there's a big problem. If you see Chamisa there and you see Tendai Biti, all the other guys there, there's hope in all the situation to be resolved. And if you see Chamisa being given a chance to speak, Scala being given a chance to speak, and everyone talking, because these guys don't have a disagreement. They just need someone to point them in the right direction. But there's no way that any of them can succeed without the other. So Chamisa is going to have support. But what you need in Zimbabwe is 75% win. You don't need a 50% win. And to get that 75% win, you need to bring everyone behind you. I've said this in the past, before the election. Hakainde Hichilema did it unexpectedly. So Chamisa needs to do it. And you know that President Hakainde Hichilema comes from the Tonga tribe, which is very small in Zambia. But he managed to convince everyone. In the past, that is what made it difficult for him to win. But this time around, everyone was behind him and everything worked. There's so much conflict in the Zambian political space, but they managed to work on it and he won. Similarly, Nelson Chamisas needs to make it happen. He needs to make sure that he makes everyone comes behind him and take people forward within the strategy that is adopted. He needs to do it. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I'll be back tomorrow if there's nothing breaking today. And as I promised, I'll ask the robot to look at the strategy by the United States, looking at the military strategy of China. So if you're able to, you can Google it. It was released very recently. I think it was December. about 400 pages. That is what we call military strategy. That is what we talk about when we say national security threat. Not that some boy in Bari is on his phone talking about politics. That's not a national security threat. And to say that kind of a thing in the Zimbabwe Defense College, they are being made to listen to garbage. So if they want, so the Zimbabwe guys now, what they should be focused on, the military guys, is to look at what the United States says in that document that lays out the strategy of China between now and 2030, 2035, and 2049. Kana makuziya izvozvo makuziya nonzi national security strategy, not kuziya kuti gamba kweaposta kuti idi yapera. No, that's not a national security strategy, a threat. If you see Gambakwe saying idi yapera, that's just Gambakwe talking. It means nothing. It's not a national security threat. That's why these guys need to support media. And what I've done is, in the past, I've sent my guys to say, Jennifer, give me a call. I want to have a call with you. Since last year, he's never called. And I've never received a response from the guys in the Ministry of Information. Because we are all Zimbabweans. So our government is the government of Zimbabwe. And instead of saying social media is a threat, what the Ministry of Information should be doing is to actually encourage social media to come up, give them proper funding, and make sure that there are structures to create and to dissuade fake news, because fake news is bad. So that is why I'm saying these guys don't understand national security threats. The national security threat is this economy and the fact that the government is rigging elections, is considered a pariah state in Africa. Those are your national security threats. And the media guys, you should allow them space to do what they want, not to buy all the newspapers in the country, and you are the only person who is in control of communications. That's crazy. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. A good day to you all.